Step 1 is to take some white paint on a sponge and fill in the centre part of the face. Try to remember to keep those edges soft and blended, you don't want any harsh lines. Sponge in 2 little sections above each eyebrow, and this is going to be the sort of middle part of the cat's ear. And then I also did take it over the eyelid, although later on I'm going to cover that up, so if you want to skip that step, that's fine. Next, I'm using an angled brush and my brand new favourite split cake, Island Girl from Leanne, and I'm just picking up the 2 top colours. I'm going to use this to paint the top edge of the cat's ear. You want to make sure that the base of the ear, where it sort of joins onto the eyebrow, is the thickest part, and it gets thinner as you go up and end on a flick. Then I'm switching over to a thicker flat brush and I'm picking up some more of that split cake, but this time you should be able to get a bit more of that orange in. I'm going to use this to paint the fur in between the ears. You want to lead with the pink on top and just make sure the lines are quite zigzaggy and jagged. Then do the same thing connecting the eye down to the outside corner of the mouth. Then before this dries, you want to take that original white sponge that you were using and just go over that inside edge to blend it all together. Then go back to your brush and paint over the eyelid to fill that area in, and you can also blend that down with the sponge. Now foolishly, I didn't practice this design before I filmed it, so it was my first attempt and I wasn't overly happy with the shape of it, so I'm just going back over the top here and just changing it up a bit. Obviously you won't have to do this if you get it right first time. Then still with the same brush, I'm going to fill in the underside of the nose. Next, using some black Diamond Effects and a Loew Cornell round number 2 brush, I'm just outlining that top edge of the ear. You want that line to be fairly thick and solid, but the other lines can be quite feathery and wispy. Then an optional step is to use a fluffy blending brush and just go in and give that inner ear some depth. Next, you want to outline that eyelid and then continue those feathery strokes onto the cheeks. Next, you want to paint in that muzzle shape. It's exactly the same way as I've done in all my other cat videos, and you can also add a little bit of blending on the edges here for a bit more detail. Now at this point I decided to fill in the bottom lip. Now ideally I would have done this earlier when I was using the same brush to paint the nose, but I didn't, so we're going to do it here. Add in a few little dots on the muzzle, and then for the whiskers, if you struggle to get your lines really thin, I would highly recommend investing in a liner brush because it just makes it so simple, you cannot go wrong. An optional step for a little bit more detail is to take some of the pink from the original split cake and add in a few dots and markings here and there. And then finally, to give it a little bit more balance, I outlined the bottom lip with some black and blended it in. And that's it, your one-stroke cat is finished. Now, if you do recreate this design, please tag me on Instagram. I love to see how everyone gets on, and it helps me as well to know whether or not the tutorials are easy enough to follow.